Check, check, check. Test, test, test.
We won't say anything. We won't say anything. The minutes you need to wrap it up. It was just.
Y'all ready? Okay, here we go. I call to order the certification of the quorum for the regular meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council meeting, March 17, 2025, at 6 p.m. Let's all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Heavenly Father, as we convene this council meeting, we humbly seek your guidance and wisdom. May our discussions be characterized by respect, understanding, and commitment to the common good. Help us to discern the needs of our city and its citizens and to make decisions that reflect your values of justice, compassion, and fairness. Grant us the strength to work together even in disagreement and to seek solutions that will benefit all. We pray for peace, progress, and prosperity for our city. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Now we're going to go to board and commission appointments.
Yes, we have two board appointments today. The first one is the Coastal Bend Foundation. The city currently has two appointees that serve on this board, and that is Jay Attaway and Karen Gale. The term for Ms. Gale is expiring in May. She is seeking reappointment, so that's the action that's before you today. And it would be for a new two-year term.
Move to reappoint Karen Gill for a 2-year term to the Coastal Bend Foundation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, the next board is the library board. Ms. Helen Lott has resigned from the board. There was one resume that was submitted, and that is from Gloria Pena. She's interested in serving on the library board. This would be for a 2-year term to February 2027.
Okay. I move to appoint Gloria Pena to the library board for a 2-year term.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to the workshop items.
Yes, so we do have several discussion items for April 7th. The first one being the transfer station scale fee. That was discussed, I believe, several months ago, but we do want to bring it back before we bring the ordinance for approval. So, and the next item is the tap fees. It says civic center fees, but we're bringing some, it's an increase of fees for the aquatic pool. It's a slight increase. And then there's also, we're going to revisit the development services fees, and we also have the Unified Development Code for discussion.
Okay, now we're going to go to citizen comments, and I'm just going to use this as a reminder. City Council has adopted a policy consistent with the state law that prohibits defamation, intimidation, personal affronts, or threats or violence, shouting, unruly behavior, and other similar behavior that impedes or disrupt the orderly conduct of meetings, such as distracting side conversation. Okay, and we're going to go to Richard Titus.
Hello, board members. I, Richard Titus, am now forced to defend myself and our house due to these incidents that have occurred because of a city councilman around the beginning of February when a lady around the corner from me was being evicted, and I was told that he was pissed off at me for asking the city why they were letting Buck's Tire look like a third world nation and such a fire hazard in front of the city buildings. I told him, oh well, it's the truth. Then during the following week, Brenda got hold of me about my building permit and that I wasn't in compliance with city ordinances and that the city didn't have any of my paperwork pertaining to our house, entire project, anything else after I've been working on it for 3 years. Just as our conditional use permit was to be heard. And I needed to resubmit all of my paperwork, everything, and now pay a $1,000 conditional use permit, building permit, etc. And she had all my RV paperwork, but not to the house, very suspicious to anyone. So I called Mr. Haskins complaining, as well as I called my engineer, Mr. Moreno, and requested he send the city what they needed as well as what I had. So after speaking with Mr. Haskins and Mr. Knight, I was advised to go speak with Mary, our new city manager. So on February 14th, Friday morning, I did go to Mary's office to walk in the building and see Mr. Dominguez. I asked Joe, "What are you doing here?" He replied, "I'm looking into your conditional use permit." I didn't think anything about it. His next comment to me was, "I hope you get your conditional use permit straightened out by the time you win," because I'm running against him. I'm thinking, what a sarcastic thing to say to me. Wow. Okay, I had my meeting with Mary, explained everything, and she advised me to go talk to Brenda. So I went and talked to Brenda February 14th in the afternoon, only to see Joe there again in the Planning and Zoning and Permits office. Then it all made sense. The reason I'm in this position now, after 3 years of building our house, I am now facing the city not following their own rules or ordinances, because a conditional use permit, I was told, is good for up to 5 years and only good for 12 months at a time. I'm only starting my 4th year, as well as the conditional use permit is good for the 12 months. But as you can see, the conditional use permit now that is on that paperwork that I gave you, my meeting has been moved to May 12th. That's 3 months past the 1-year mark. That's 15 months. That's violating your own rules and your own ordinances. And as well as my receipts that are in there show, my conditional use permit was $200 fee, not $1,000, in which I should have been grandfathered in for the first 5 years, as I was told. I live on a fixed income, I'm disabled, I'm a senior citizen, as well as I still have a broken neck and will all of my life. But I strive to push forward to build our house by myself. This is now harassment in my opinion. Let me finish my house. I'm trying to clean up a little bit of my neighborhood. This kind of dirty politics aren't warranted or needed in this already poor community. So if I'm treated like this, then so is the entire community or anyone else who stands up and fights for their rights against this kind of corruption. And if I'm now put on the street, I will then sleep in my car in front of the city hall with a sign explaining why and how I got here. So I expect that I will be retaliated against from here on out, because I'm standing up for our rights and our community's rights. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go to Will.
Okay. I kind of want an apology from y'all for wasting my time. I came to every budget meeting that y'all had. Every one. And said the main thing was on there was roads. And then we found out this week that thank you, Mr. Haskins, for putting this on there, was that the city manager left and took all the improvements out for all the roads. That should have been said instead of us having to find it out on Facebook. This is why we're yelling transparency in this town. So just to have stuff like that, hey, this guy took all the money that we had in there for roads, doesn't seem right. Seems like we need an audit or something. Thank you.
Can I say something? I'm sorry. I couldn't say so. May I reply to that?
Yes.
Okay, there was a meeting in August, and there was a presentation made to City Council as to what was and wasn't in the budget. And in that meeting, we explained that in the budget, that what was left in the budget were the capital items. We presented a list of roads that we could put 2 projects together with the names of the streets that we would pave, issuing a debt in the future. We were waiting to see what we were going to be doing with the fire department, and that's what we recommended to council, but that was in an open meeting, and you're more than welcome to go back in the meeting in August and look at the recordings, and that was explained to City Council at that time. Thank you.
Now we're going with Alex Tan.
Bullshit.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Tan, live at 1341 South Arch Street. I'm just here to make a couple of comments and requests for assistance from you guys. I just want to welcome the Chief of Police, David Perkins. Like I was telling him, Tito said some good reviews in regards to him being here before, and Tito is doing a great job with his code enforcing. He's flexing his muscles and he's making things happen, so I think he does need a raise sooner or later. Thank you, Erica Murphy, supervisor for dispatcher. I spoke to her. She has good listening skills, and I just appreciate her working for us as a community. Along with Officer Prado. Prado is same thing. Good listener, pays attention to and cares for the citizens here. I'm gonna jump real quick to our problem that we're having. I have a petition. Over 20 people signed this petition. This has been going on since 2023. This one individual has pets. He had roosters, mind you, city limits, roosters, chickens, ducks. We complained, and finally we removed it. All the people that were assisting us on those are all gone now for animal control. Now we got a new batch of animals. The dogs, we have 4 dogs, a parakeet, and he's feeding birds of prey beside our neighborhood. 20 plus people, they can't sleep at night because he barks. It's not the dog's fault, mind you. It's a Great Dane, beautiful dogs, but we need to find a way to remove those pets away from that individual. His name is Rick Fox, and we need to remove those and rehome those pets to individuals who will care for them and let them roam around. He doesn't have any fence, so the dogs are chained. They got electric shocks on them. He uses blowhorns to obedience. He uses blowhorns to do obedience on me. In confrontations, I had to prevent one of our neighbors, his name is Preston, from getting into a physical altercation with that neighbor. I have a 73-year-old veteran that has an issue in regards to that. I got a nurse that has anxiety and can't sleep at night. We have autistic kid. I live in a house, but the apartment complex right across, so they hear everything that's going on in there. So I ask you this, guys, help us move those pets and rehome them. Let's use the nuisance law that some police officers, let me name some. Gina Brown does not know the ordinance, or the dispatcher Michelle Morgan. They don't know the regulation, the ordinance. That there's a nuisance law that indicates if you're making noises and you're disturbing the peace, you got to get cited and removed. Do y'all got any questions for me, please? Ask questions. Any questions, please? Let me clarify something. I just need y'all's help. Oh, no problem.
Just contact me and I'll be glad to address.
On its way, my man. We've already filed that to citizen.
Let me ask you,
You
did you
don't want
file
to
your
talk to you on the
complaint?
phone?
I wish I could. I was trying to, but
Ask for my email, my number, and I'll talk to you about it, because I know we have an ordinance dealing with the number of pets, and then a process that you need to follow if it's going to be a nuisance, but I'll talk to you about it.
You are a blessing.
I believe you were advised to submit your complaint to municipal court.
we did
You did do
that,
that, okay.
the other day.
So that has been,
That's in
so you have
process.
started that process.
Coming your way, everybody got a piece of that, so that
Okay.
way we're all on the same page. We're trying to do this in the proper channels,
Okay.
proper hierarchy kind of deal. So please help us out. Good luck on y'all's election. All right. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to go to staff reports, which is the monthly department report submitted and reported.
Yes, they're submitted in written form.
So now we're going to go to the consent agenda. Consider approving the March 3rd, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve the March 3rd regular meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're gonna open public hearing. The public hearing on PZ-2024-24, amending the ordinance for chapter 21 peddlers by changing the name of salespeople providing definitions for salesperson, for salespeople, vendors, pop-ups, peddlers, panhandlers, and adding fees, penalties, and requirements along with other amendments.
Good evening, council. So this has come about you 2 other times. We've had a discussion time for this as well. So this is one of the last times I'm hoping I bring it up towards you. There's a lot of changes on here. This came about a lot of complaints that were happening with events in the town and people not knowing or not obtaining their permits to be able to come to these events. So a lot of the departments got together and we went through the ordinance and we changed a lot of items to be able to streamline things and make it easier and cheaper for people to come and get their permits. And so that's what this is all about.
Any questions?
Is this all permits, building permits, everything
No,
permits?
sales permits.
Just sales permits?
So you have panhandlers,
Yeah.
salespersons. What, can you help me with that?
In what form?
I mean, why is panhandlers part of that?
Because there's a part where it says aggressive solicitation.
Okay.
And that's the section that this
But we're
panhandlers would
changing
be
that to
under.
salesperson. That's not a salesperson.
It's not, but it's still kind of, sometimes they do try and sell stuff, but because the aggressive solicitation was already in the peddler's ordinance, that would be the easiest way to assess that.
Okay, but a peddler does what? Sells items, right?
Sells items, yes.
I mean, everything fits except for that word panhandlers. That's where I'm stuck at.
Yeah, it
Well,
almost
like I
sounds
said-
like they need to get a permit to
Right.
panhandle.
It sounds like they're going to have to get a permit to do the panhandling.
Right. But on the section and towards the back in Article 4, because it's also separated into different articles, it says aggressive solicitation, solicitors, so that would be the easiest way for us to put in panhandlers. If you'd like, we can take that whole section out and make it its own ordinance. We can do that as well.
I kind of feel better if it was. its
I
own
do too,
ordinance.
because I do too.
And
You wanna
do
make an
that
amendment?
separation.
What do you think?
I think you need to make an amendment, yes.
I mean, I'm asking the attorney, you think there'd be a better way to handle that? To do
I
its own
think other
separate?
cities have their own separate ordinance dealing with aggressive,
Yeah.
solicitation and stuff like that.
Because if we go to enforce panhandlers, I mean, are we going to have to enforce salespersons as well?
Mhm.
I mean, I still think that should be separate.
We can separate it. Mhm.
Well, and
I mean,
They're different.
yeah.
well, I can make a motion to amend and just remove panhandler, the word panhandlers out of that section.
I didn't address that in a later.
I would say just remove the Article 4, and that's that
Article
whole
4?
section there. Mhm.
To remove Article 4?
Mhm.
All right, I'll make a motion to amend to remove Article 4 from this wording.
We need to get comments from the citizens.
Oh,
All right,
Any questions from the audience? No?
Discussion, Mayor? Where's section 4?
Article 4.
Article 4?
Excuse me, Brenda, is it in the ordinance? The ordinance that's attached? Okay,
Yes,
just
it's in on the bottom,
on the bottom.
and it's page
Let's see. I'm going to
1,
that section.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, page 7.
7. That's page 7 of the ordinance.
No, one more, that's Article 2, keep
Article
going.
2. Okay, Article 3.
Keep going. Right there,
This is
aggressive
Article 4.
solicitation.
I hate to tell you this, but I can't read that from here.
It was in your
What-
packet.
What packet?
Your agenda
This?
packet?
yeah.
No,
This?
The whole agenda packet that you usually
No,
get?
this was all that was in my packet.
No, it doesn't include all that other stuff. It's gotta be in the tablet or.
Yeah, it's on the tablet probably.
Oh, I don't use the tablet.
Well, I don't either. I use my computer.
I brought this up before, Brenda. These things that you're doing, it would be a whole lot easier for us to understand that if we have it sitting there in front of us, so we can say, okay, that's what this means and that's what this is. Now I'm sitting here lost again. We're talking about panhandlers and salespeople, and they don't mix.
Okay. So do you not get a paper copy on Fridays with your whole agenda?
Yes, ma'am, and this was all that was in it. I didn't get no other pieces of paper in my agenda.
Okay.
And I was going to talk to you about that again sooner, but we didn't get that far. But that's the issue that I have is I want to know
apologize
exactly
for
what
that.
all this is
I
before I
submit all
vote
my
on it.
paperwork on the week before so that you all can get it. I'm not too sure why you're not getting the information from the city secretary.
I have seen it before where we did get it, and I've seen it times we don't get it.
Would the council like to table this item to allow more time for you to review it? But we can,
I think I understand what it is from what they're talking about now, changing the name or taking that part out, and then redoing that panhandling deal. And I feel also that it needs to be separated so it's more enforceable.
So by removing Article 4, we would bring back a separate ordinance to
Correct.
address the
Yes.
aggressive solicitation panhandling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
We'll do that. Yeah, because the ordinances are on the website, city page.
I know where the ordinance are, and I know where the charter is, and I know where everything is. I'm talking about what we discussed here. If it was put in the packet, I don't have to go through everything and look it up. I can see it because we get this on Friday night, and we're expected to know it by Monday night.
Mhm.
I have other things to do on weekends besides read all this. So if you just put it in there, then I would see this and say, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I like I said, I submit all my paperwork to the city secretary, and I don't have any process to make sure that she makes sure that that's part of that
Okay,
that's
I
supposed to go
understand
to
that,
you.
but now, that's why I'm confused now, but it's straightened out, I understand, but this is confusing when you have to go looking for all of this stuff, is what I'm saying.
So maybe, I don't know, Mary, set up some other type of process where they get an actual paper copy?
We'll work on getting the council the whole packet. I'll talk to the city secretary about getting the whole packet to the council on Friday.
Okay. Could we get them on Wednesday?
Sometimes that's not possible because of my planning and zoning meetings on Monday, and then I have to do the report on Tuesday to make sure it's in by Wednesday or Thursday of that day, of that
Who's more
week.
important, us or them?
Well, I can't give you their responses without having the meeting, so.
Okay, I got it now,
Yeah,
thank
the
you.
earliest we could get it to the council would be Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so we're gonna table it or what?
No, I don't think that's necessary at
amend
this
it.
point.
Okay, any comments from the audience? No? Okay, well, I declare this public hearing closed, and we'll go to consideration of approving the ordinance for Chapter 21 peddlers by changing the name to salesperson, clarifying definitions for salesperson, vendors, pop-up peddlers, panhandlers, and adding fees, penalties, and requirements along with any other amendments.
I make a motion to amend to strike Article 4 from the wording.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Now, I believe we need to vote on the ordinance as amended.
Aye. Oh, let me find it again. Where we at? I move to amend the ordinance for Chapter 21 peddlers by changing the name to salespeople, clarifying definitions for salespeople, vendors, pop-ups, peddlers, and adding fees, penalties, and requirements along with other amendments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're gonna go to public hearing on PZ 202425, amending the zoning ordinance section 12, mobile food establishment by changing the name to mobile food unit, along with amendments to section 12-200, requirements, clarifying definitions and fees in the following sections. Section 10, use of land and building. Section 10-200, schedule of uses, number 78.5, changing the name and allowing mobile food units in general business, and the harbor overlay section 10-300 definition.
So this is also one that we were trying to streamline and make it easier and make it more accessible for people in the city. So departments got together to see how we can make it easier for people to get their permits so we can attract more business. And so it does change some definitions. It does change, like, the instead of having two different permits, whether it's short-term or long-term, we just made it one whole year, and then planning and zoning decided to lower the price even more, so the recommendation is for $50 a year. So like that, we can get more people in, and they don't have to get a permit for every 3 months or so when they come, or even for a week. It's cheap, and it'll be for the whole year. And so one of the other things that's also big on the changes is that this would allow the manufactured food units in general business zoning and also in the overlay. Since in other meetings in the past, you have had other people come in and say that they wanted food trucks at the harbor, and it seemed like the council at the time was amenable, I added that. But if you do not see it that where you want that, we can also take that out.
No, yeah, the harbor overlay, I mean, me personally, I'm against that. Because, you know, if we're gonna develop the harbor and we got food trucks parking everywhere, that could possibly steer off a potential business owner.
Because this is pretty much allowing the food trucks to hang out at the harbor, right?
Yep.
Well, that, and also we have special events or certain events, you know, they need to be participants.
Yeah,
and
they-
not be allowed automatically.
Yeah, and they could do that by just do a permit for special events.
Okay.
Now, if you do accept it to be at the overlay, you can also amend the overlay to say we only want them this certain area of the harbor as well.
I don't think we want to do that because we don't know what's going to be developed over there.
No, I mean, I'm for, like, if you have a fish fest or something like that, yeah. I mean, that'd be my exception,
Like
but
that
just,
one that was up on top.
yeah, just
that last
run them,
time.
let them
Even
park.
with the pavilion to have
Yeah.
Yeah.
a kind of entertainment or have.
I think do it by like a special use permit or something like that, instead of just letting them park wherever they want down there.
Yeah, because even that trunk or treat, I mean, there's times when we allow it
Oh,
during
yeah.
an event. So
Yeah, and a special event, yeah, I
If it's part
agree.
of an event, then I'm okay.
Yeah, same here. That's how I feel about it.
So-
And that'll probably be
If it's part
covered
of
when
an
I bring
event
over,
where
there's a
we end up with
special,
a pavilion or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
well, there's going to be another ordinance that's going to be coming. It's a special event permit, and that would cover them being at events, not
Now-
necessarily just the harbor.
Now, what about the general business part that's in here? So,
It would allow them to be parked or stationed wherever there's general business in the area, wherever it's zoned.
But is it the harbor general business?
It is, but since we specifically said the harbor overlay, since there's an overlay on it, it would be separate.
I'm on the opinion of striking general business and harbor overlay and maybe addressing that in another way, because I think we could open up a big can of worms doing this. That's just me, though.
Because at some point, if we do have any kind of entertainment out there, it would be nice to have.
Oh, yeah,
food
like,
trucks and stuff like
yeah,
that
special
for the
events, yeah,
people
but
there.
I'm scared doing this, they could just go out there anytime they wanted.
Right,
Oh,
yeah, I agree.
that's-
And
Yeah.
stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
special events.
Now,
Special
let me
event.
just remind you that if we don't allow the general business, and then there would be no food trucks allowed in the city. Because we don't have a zone for them to station right now.
So right now, there's nothing for them to begin with.
Mhm.
We come back up with something to address that. I mean, they've been coming to town for years, and if they've not been using anything for them, I think it could wait a little bit till we could type up something a little more concrete to protect the city.
Well, it's either that or strike the one in the harbor first
Yeah.
and allow general business, but then
Yeah, because we
if that
don't,
includes the harbor, then
Yeah, I
we
know.
gotta specify.
yeah, we don't want to do something with the harbor then later, then a developer comes in and,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and we got food trucks sitting there, and that's a problem. You want
it
to
might-
table
it might
this
not
one?
fit their script or.
That might be better, table it,
Yeah, let's get the language correct.
get the language right.
Table it.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Why are food trucks such a problem? Have you guys ever been to Austin?
You wanna
Food
come
trucks
up?
are not a
Oh.
pro-
Oh, gosh.
I don't understand why food trucks are such a problem. That you can, if somebody wants to come in and develop it, drive it away. Like, it's not a big deal. That's the whole concept of the thing. Like, there's plenty of cities around the country. Like, I was just in Austin today. There's food trucks everywhere. They don't look trashy. They don't look bad. There's a line like around the corner for them. Like, if you have a problem with, you don't want 20 food trucks there, so then why can't we say like, okay, we can do 5 food trucks in the harbor? Like,
That's the
but,
whole-
but like okay, well, just from my perspective in the crowd here, it seems like you're against it, like you're shutting it down. And it's like almost every time something comes up about the harbor, it seems like we're shutting it down, and we're just, because we don't want to get in trouble or we don't want to stir feathers. But like, what is the plan? At some point, there has to be a point where you're like, all right, this is what we propose and this is what we're going to do, instead of just shutting everything down all the time.
Mr. Redford, we didn't shut it down. We
I
said
mean,
we wanted
it's
to go
done.
back and revisit
We just
it.
want to have a little bit.
Well, I'm
deeper
just going off of y'all's
conversation.
conversation right here. Maybe I'm the only one that took it that way, but it doesn't seem
Yeah,
like
no,
you're in
we just
favor
want
of
to
food
look
trucks.
a little deeper in
to exactly what we're talking about, and that way we
So, okay,
make
what is
sure
your opinion on
we're
food
making the
trucks?
right.
Because in the past, it seems like it's been an issue too. It's not like a new thing, you know?
Oh, I don't have a problem with them all, I mean, at all, but
So
you
then-
just put that in there, I mean, it's just like you're just turning the floodgates open, it's
What- I
anything.
don't understand that thought process though. Like, when do you start turning the floodgates open to have people come to the harbor and do things?
To do, what do you mean to do things? Food
Well, I mean,
truck,
people come for food trucks.
I'm not
People
against
follow them
food
around the
trucks,
city.
food trucks are not gonna support
No,
that
it's
harbor.
not, no, and nobody's saying that, but it's a
So
start.
you have to have, that's the whole point of these ordinances, is to regulate things. And there's nothing that's regulating anything in here. We need to reword how this is written.
So where do we start?
Start by what we're doing, tabling this and getting something drawn up a little more that's got a little more regulation to it.
So your plan is to bring something to the table in a few months that allows some food trucks or some sort of regulation of some
That's
sort
the
of
deal,
business there?
to regulate it.
But that's what the ordinance do.
Right, I understand, but like, just from my impression here, based on the conversation, it's like you guys were like against it.
Oh, no, I'm not against it.
Nobody's against it.
Nobody's
We just
against
wanna
it.
Make sure the wording's
No,
correct.
The way
Because
it's
like the way
written
you
is
said it,
right.
you're like, well, there's gonna be 100 food trucks down there. There's no way there's gonna be 100 food trucks down there.
If you open the harbor up, all the harbor for food trucks, you'll have people bringing food trucks from all over the place lining
Nobody's
in the
gonna-
harbor up.
If there's
Now,
10,
you could control that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in agreement with him, we're trying to support him.
Yeah.
Good job, good job.
well, I don't want a free for all either. That's not what I'm saying. But,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel like a productive conversation. It feels like you're like, I don't want food trucks.
No, it's not only food trucks, what you said, you don't want a free-for-all. That's what I'm worried about, how these words are, is it would be a free-for-all.
I mean, don't they have to have a permit and like, so anybody can show up? That's what that's saying, is they don't need a permit, anybody can show up and do it?
No, you gotta have a permit, but it looks like you could just
But isn't that
wrap.
what so doesn't the permit process, isn't that where you find out this truck is legal, these people have all their
It's
permits and
nothing to
stuff?
do with that, it's regulating that if you're gonna have 1 million food trucks around the harbor, because that's how this is worded.
How many people do you think hang out down there, man? We don't have, like, there's not enough people down there to feed 100 food trucks, like maybe like 2 or 3.
It might be better to table it and then.
That's what we're doing.
The
To have a
population-
better discussion.
That's what we're trying to do.
Just to tell you the truth, I mean, if you guys haven't been around, Austin, yes, outstanding, and everybody flocks there, especially spring breakers, everybody trying to chew up everything. Dallas, I mean, they built a bridge over there, what's that bridge name?
Yeah, but
Yeah, that-
Mary.
It's just a bridge and they're
Whenever
full of
she's got something on, we
food
need to have a
trucks.
workshop
They
on
love
it and
it,
talk about it
making
before
revenue
that
left and
comes
right.
up to the
But
meeting.
then, you
That
know,
way we
you
don't have to
limit
have
the
this.
time frame, you limit the space.
That's the reason.
I mean, everything's good. I mean, first come, first serve kind of situation.
And you're exactly right, there's no limitations on anything on here, that's what we're talking about,
That's why I
tabling it.
wanted
Yeah,
to
so
do
if you,
that.
yeah,
I'm gonna have a
but
workshop.
please,
Yeah.
please encourage bringing in some of the food trucks.
Oh, I don't disagree with you
It'll help
at all.
farmers, it'll help boaters. I mean, they pull up, let's eat a little bit, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
back out. I mean, everybody loves
Sir.
that.
What Brenda talked
Yeah.
about
Sir.
and talking about.
I think what the council wants to do is have a separate workshop meeting where we
Yes.
could talk about allowing mobile food trucks at the harbor. And that'll be a time when you can come and express your concerns and your input and so forth. But I think what what I'm hearing from the council is to have a separate meeting and just discuss food trucks at the harbor.
Right, well, that's what I just wanted to clarify,
Yes,
because the
sir.
conversation I heard didn't sound like that, but that's part of what I was wanting to
Yeah.
clarify.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
I just wanted to add that one of the points Brenda had made is to have the designated area on the harbor. I thought was a really good idea. Like if you just specify like it can only be here, then maybe it wouldn't impede on the new businesses and things wanting to come and develop.
And I think that's what the council is
Correct.
talking about,
Yes, it
regulation.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we need to
Just
table
want to make a
it.
quick comment. My name is Rochella Thomas. I've lived here like almost all of my life. And I always hear about developing the harbor. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And, you know, when we have ideas like food trucks and things like that, I honestly feel like this should be taken seriously under consideration as it's important to us. I go out to the harbor. I like it. I love being out there. And, you know, I get hungry sometimes. It'd be nice to be able to get a taco sitting at the harbor. I'm just saying, you know, those are all things that we should really take into consideration for the citizens of Aransas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I declare this public hearing closed. Oh, my. Okay. Consideration of approving an ordinance amending section 12 mobile food establishment by changing the name to mobile food units along with amendments to section 12-200's requirements, clarifying definitions, and fees in the following sections. Section 10, use of the land and buildings. Section 10-200, schedule of uses number 78.5, changing the name and following mobile food units in general business and harbor overlay. Section 10-300, definitions.
I move to table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now I'm going to open up public hearing on PZ 2024-25, rezoning a property from PD Plan Development to LI Light Industrial located from potential buyers Joseph Broussard at north corner of Highway 35 bypass and Resendez Road, more particularly described by Aransas County Appraisal District as property ID 58189, McCampbell Subdivision, Block 7, Lot 1 and 2, PT of all of 3 through 537.631 acres of Aransas Pass, Aransas County, Texas.
So this case is a little special. There are two-step process to what this developer wants to do. One was to go through ZBA to get a variance to be able to do light industrial where the property is located, and two was to rezone the property. Now, if we went into that process, you would not see it until after the variance has already been passed. So we kind of switched it around a little bit because I know the council has been amenable to hearing what's happening on bypass 35 first. So I decided to do the rezoning first to make sure and bring it in front of you all before we went through the variance. So, and here the property is off of Resendez Road and 35, so just north of Southern Oaks RV lot. There were notices sent out, a total of 27 of the properties all around. There was one comment received in person that came to my office. I'm not too sure if she's here. She said she would. Her name is Kimberly McGoldrick. She owns the property just west of the property in question right now, and she's trying to sell her property. So she feels that if the business park is built, then she won't be able to sell her property, because she says the beauty of the property is that it's around nothing. And so she feels that if the warehouse was built, then that would be an issue. Then when we had the planning and zoning meeting, there was two other people that spoke up. One was a Christopher Sitko. He came to the P&Z meeting to ask information first. He wasn't too sure he was for or against. He listened to the whole case, and then he decided at the end that he was for it as long as there was a landscape ordinance that he would be amenable, that he would be forced to do, which we do have, and during the building process, they have to submit a landscape plan. The last person was Dennis Peacock. He spoke at the planning and zoning meeting. He just wanted to make sure that the board and city council knew that if they pass this light industrial, that light industrial is amenable to a lot of items, not just the business warehouse that they're planning on doing right now. And so that's why in the report and in the presentation, I put some more information to help clarify that. So what they really want to do is they want to rezone from planned development to light industrial to be able to put a business park, but the business park will be in warehouse form. And that is in the ordinance that that's not allowed. So that's why if you do pass the rezoning, they would have to go to ZBA for a variance to be able to do that. And so the next item would be what is not permitted in light industrial, just so everybody's clear. All these items are not permitted, so that you know, if for whatever reason it gets rezoned and he doesn't build his business park, these are the items that still cannot be built there under light industrial. And on the next page, we show what is allowable in the light industrial. And that's also a pretty long list. On the next one, we have the conceptual plan. As you can see, the bypass 35 is at the bottom. And the buildings facing bypass 35, he is willing for them to have a storefront look to them instead of just a warehouse. So it does look like it is a business park from bypass 35. And then the next one, we have an idea of what the elevations of the buildings would look like, so each side. And then after that, we have some possible storefronts that they would be using. Maybe go to the next one. It all actually depends on whoever starts renting the building. So depending on who rents the building is the type of storefront that they might want to put in. So that's why he's not giving a specific style that he would be putting. The rest of the buildings, the majority, which would be on the interior or facing the Resendez Road, may look like this. And he has mentioned that in other properties that he's developed like this, even though they're in the inward part of the business park or somewhere where it's not required, some of the business owners still put a storefront as well.
So what you're
And-
saying is that they don't have to put a store, whoever rents it doesn't have to put a storefront, they don't want to.
Not on the rest of the park,
On the front facing 35.
facing
where you showed us
35, the recommendation from planning and zoning was to put the storefronts. That is,
That they had to do it.
they had to do it,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Mhm.
And they have several options.
Now we keep going, there's something, that's the inside of what the inside would look like depending on what they needed. That's just an example of the ones that hold merchandise on the side and need offices as well. And so the planning and zoning did recommend approval with the condition that any buildings facing a restrictive street such as bypass 35 having a business storefront facade. And the developer is here to speak on this and answer any questions that you may have.
Good. Any questions from the audience?
Hey, Brenda, so we have 18-wheelers delivering or semi-trucks, or how's the impaction rate on that road?
On Resendez Road?
Yeah, I mean, is it, I haven't been on there in a while.
I would say most of them would come right off.
Right up-
I
right
haven't
off
been
the
on there to
highway.
check that.
With the haul truck.
But that would be a better question answered by the developer. Joe?
Good evening, council. My name is Joe Broussard, and I wanted to first give y'all a little background of me. It wasn't that long ago, I think I was before y'all. The other company that I represent, Equipment Share, we just purchased and are redeveloping where the flower shop is right down from McCoy's, and are putting in that 4-acre site from the Wheeler to Marshall Lane all the way through to the back of Butter Churn. We're redeveloping that into an equipment yard, an equipment rental space. So we're responsible on one hand for that development and quite an investment in the community there. That we've invested quite a bit. Now, it's turning out to be a pretty site, and I think it's going to be good for the community on that hand. So during that process, we came up with this idea and found the property, and we have experience in the past. Equipment Share has, to give you an example, we have 4 businesses in South Texas in these very types of business parks. And I'll speak very candidly about Equipment Share because I am responsible for building their buildings in these business parks. And we wouldn't go into a place that was a warehouse district. We wouldn't go in there because it doesn't fit our business model. Because our business model is not only do we deal with contractors and other people who rent equipment, but also the public can walk in and rent a backhoe or whatever they want. I mean, so we also deal with the public. So just to give you an example, that's very sought after from my company, Coast to Coast, are these types of business parks. And in those other business parks, and I go around from Brownsville to Harlingen. We have 2 in Harlingen, 1 in Brownsville, and 1 in Laredo. And the other types of businesses that typically come in there, they vary widely. There's a gym, a public gym in one. I can't remember all of them, but none of them you would drive by and consider a warehouse or an industrial look. It's more of a storefront where people do business and their products that they're selling are in the warehouse behind it. Many times, in our case especially, we would buy 2 or 3 of these lots or rent them, put one building on them, and the rest of it would be open land where we would put either the pumps, the generators, or the heavy equipment. So that's our use, and I can speak candidly about that because that's what I do. And then I also, as I go around there, I see the other uses that go in there. So during this process and visiting with Brenda, we came up against the part of not wanting a warehouse look going down 35. Didn't understand that at first. Then you drive further towards Rockport, and there's a big, long boat storage warehouse that's just a warehouse. And I thought, well, that's what they don't want there. So during that, we changed the plot around to turn those buildings long ways that the skinny, if you will, the skinny end of the warehouse faces at 35, and that's typically where you would walk in. The storefront would be built, and then the goods behind them. So, I also want to say that my permanent home, I'm not a developer here today and gone tomorrow. My permanent home, I live in Rockport, and I drive past this place all the time, so I have a personal interest to make sure that the community that this is something well suited for the committee. And we've tried to, working with Brenda and knowing y'all's concerns up front, try to address that, for the council and for P&Z. So I'm trying to think of anything else. I can't, I don't want to, I'll answer any questions. I'm not here to bait and switch. I'm not going to say something or tell you something that I don't believe to be true. But we are bound by, I can't sit here and tell you exactly what the storefront of everyone's going to look like, because I don't know what businesses is going to come in there and go in there. So it could be, just like the examples show, could be varied. It will be varied, but they will have a storefront facade.
Are you the owner?
I'm the buyer of the property.
So when they come in and rent it, you're gonna be there renting it to them and overseeing and all of that.
Yes.
So you'll know that they have to do something instead of put something terrible up front. You're going to know that it has to have a storefront.
Yes,
facade.
and not only that, but in the ones we've done in the past, and I assume this will be the exact same without making a promise I can't keep. We are the builder for those too, so they can't come in there and buy a lot and bring in their own building and put in a piece of that we don't want there.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, we don't want, because we have a bunch of other stuff to try to move too, so we don't want something that doesn't look well for our future businesses either. And also to let you know, I don't see it up on the screen, but right now we have under contract, and the seller is here as well, we have under contract the front 15 acres that faces 35 bypass. And then the back 17 acres plus or minus, we have under first right of refusal, same seller. I think they developed all of that area with the RV park and stuff and sometime in the past. We would have, the first right to, the option to buy that, and our plan would be to phase 1, phase 2. So, these business parks, again, have been successful. And I just want to, again, emphasize that it's not a warehouse district, and because I know that there would be opposition to that. And that's not what we have in mind at all.
Sounds like you want to do like between Corn Products and Southern Minerals right off of 37, a complex kind of like that.
Kind of like that. City Electric would be a business that you could say, okay, a City Electric building that's there, that would be a company. They won't be there now because they're down the street, but that kind of business would be a very good example of a business that would use that type of building.
Any questions from the audience?
How many businesses is that going to hold, the first part? Not what you're planning to develop later on, but the first part, how many businesses?
How many businesses, how many, on the plot plan we had proposed, I think it's facing 35.
Facing 35.
It's, she has it here.
5 facing 35.
5
and another,
facing 35.
Okay. Another 8 in the back.
And that can vary. So we're not going to go in there and build all these buildings all at once. Somebody could go in there and buy, like we have, 2 or 3 of these lots and put one building on it.
Right.
So, that's just a conceptual idea of what could go in there.
What could go in there? So up to 13, possibly.
Mhm.
Unless somebody wanted both spaces and then they rent out
Correct.
two areas.
Correct. And I also want to say that, we're going to, our substantial investment up front is the concrete streets, of course, the drainage plan, I mean, all that'll be permitted, along with the landscape ordinance. As these buildings go in, they'll be permitted through the normal channels, obviously. But, you know, we would build and put in the infrastructure for the entire phase one. In other words, we're not going to just have a street. Sometimes you'll see a developer put a street in halfway to build one building and then get enough money to go forward. That's not us, because it's better and more efficient for us to pour the concrete streets for all of phase one. So it you know, it's a substantial, and the property, if y'all are familiar with it, and I'm sure you are, pretty cleared right now. It's not a bad looking piece of property as it sits today. It's all cleared, mowed, and, you know, a nice piece of property.
What about this lady that's in, not wanting this? What are we gonna do about her? Is she gonna accept it?
She would have to if you pass it.
Huh?
Yep.
She would have to if you pass it.
Okay, Jack?
Thank you.
My name is Jack Cheney. I'm County Commissioner in that particular area of Aransas County, and I'm excited about getting this in here. I want you to visualize you're new to the you're new to the area, and you're coming in, and you're headed from Portland, and you're coming down to the bypass, not the bypass, but the overpass, and just as you turn that corner, right now you see what I still call the Iron Gator, but you know, that was supposed to be a golf course, and it didn't work out, but they kept that in a very good condition, and now they have a huge mobile home park there, and people that drive in to it, and I have them talk to me all the time, not all the time, but quite often about, that's a really nice place over there. Well, it stays busy all the time, and it's hard to get into there. Well, this is right next door to it. And what I envision is exactly what we have all been talking about, is non-heavy industrial, non-even medium industrial, but some businesses in there. I would love to see a Ferguson's come in there. I mean, how many of us could use a Ferguson's? I would love to see somebody, a refrigeration place come in that could sell refrigerant and things like that. You realize that and I'm an electrician, been an electrician for 50 years, if I need something that is not at Lowe's or whatever, and it's getting less and less all the time, before City Electric came, I had to go to the nearest one with CC Electric, which is expensive, or I could go to dealers, but that was a 3-hour round trip. Now that City Electric's in, and I worked on City Electric for 7 years before we finally got them to agree to come in here. The first year it started up, it was the fastest growing one that City Electric has, and they have 200 outlets across the nation. It is the largest privately owned electrical company in the nation. Year number 2, year number 3, and year number 4, they were first west of the Mississippi. That's the type of market we got here, and we're missing it, guys. If we don't do something, I think that makes a first step that says we're not going to do uranium plants here. We're not going to do a lot of the stuff that comes out. We have areas that the public doesn't see as much where we can do that sort of thing. I mean, look at the tailing ponds. A lot of that's in Aransas County. And you know, Sam Pat's got a lot of stuff over there. And even though it may not be in our city limits or in your city limits, and I count Aransas Pass as mine anyway, but as long as it's not there, it's still bringing people in. If you get 8 businesses out there, or 15 businesses, or whatever it is that you get out there, and you get 5 employees per business, that's between 40 and 50 new people, new jobs that come here. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a day or 2, but I bet it'll happen in 3 years. And what is it that we all need? Need good, honest tax money. You know, we talk about streets and things like this. This is, in my opinion, this is the source to pay for that. I mean, we've got, and if you get 50 new people in here, and I don't think you'll get 50 new families, but if you get, say you did get 50 new families in here because of that businesses, that's a lot of housing. That's a lot of stuff that's coming in. And Aransas Pass is now the place to come to get housing. Can't do it in Rockport, it's too darned expensive. Can't do it in Portland because I don't like you anyway, you know. So, and you know, and Gregory's too small. But see, just kind of along with this comes my vision of what Aransas Pass is. Now, I talk to everybody except Joe, and Joe, I apologize, I just never can catch you and everything, and Randy and I spent a lot of time together, and you know, I know all of you, but we're making a mistake thinking that Aransas Pass is a transitional community. You're going from somewhere to go somewhere. I want it to be a hub city. I want you to come to Aransas Pass so that you can decide whether you want to go to Port A or you want to go to Tivoli or Houston or you know, or come in from that way and you want to go to Corpus. I want this to be a hub where somebody stops and says, what's the best deal? Let's get some more businesses in here. And as you turn that, make that curve and everything, and you see those out there with those storefronts, and I agree 100% with the storefront idea. The storefronts, and you see either, you know, anything that can come out there. We built some in Aransas Pass, in Rockport on Market Street, and we started with 3, and then they went to 6, and I think there's 11 now. They're all busy, they're all full, and they all got customers. So I'm very much in favor. I'm excited about this, and I just want y'all to get excited too. I think this is a turning point for Aransas Pass, and I think that's the type of stuff we need to say, look, world, we're not going to put carbon black plants here anymore. We're not doing that. But we'll put supply houses. Kiewit. My daughter works for Kiewit. Got her back hurt, doesn't work now, but works for Kiewit. Kiewit needs a bolt, a single bolt. Okay, they have people that come deliver that to it, but they have a regular schedule. But if they need it, they may have to go to Anchor, Bolt, and Screw. That's a 3-hour trip. I'd like it to be 30 minutes. So I think this is a great deal, guys. I really do. I really appreciate it, y'all looking at it. And if I can help you, and I think I talked to the mayor or to the county judge and a couple of the commissioners over there as best as I can under the Open Meetings Act. And I think they're all in favor of it. This is what Aransas Pass and Rockport, I think, need to be looking for. Now, I got another idea for you later on this year.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments?
Hi, Council. My name is Tommy Sanders. I would like to provide my perspective on the matter. Looking at it from a socioeconomic point of view, I'm a young man, too, and I'm a fairly new resident to this area. I moved out here, and I've noticed some opportunity when it comes to places to live. And we're under a lot of development. They have new communities. I don't know if they showed it on the map there, but there's a new community being developed in that area. And this not only provides potential jobs, but, it's going to bring tax dollars to the community. Another thing is the jobs that it's going to present for each, family that's coming in. Each one of those stores are going to need a manager, and that's a good paying job to be able to put into those communities. And so when I moved out here, I'm from New Orleans. I moved out here in October. My girlfriend came along with me, and it's hard to find a job in this area. She's been looking for a while, and this in the long term, especially if they get to another phase, this can be a really big boom for the community. And I just see it as a opportunity for every party involved, and that's just a perspective I would like to bring. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
This is the ordinance we've been working with. Got about 4 years maybe left. My concern with this project is that they have a light industry, but they want to do away with council action for considerations, but use the rest of the ordinances, such as your building requirements, to follow up with. The only thing about it, and I'm not against it, and I'm not for it, I'm a resident, and I'm concerned about cost. We're dealing with 2,680 acres to the west of 1069 Farm Market Road. It's zoned light industry. The Corpus Christi Public Water Development Works is part of that industrial type zone. Ingleside is the one dealing with it. The matter is that they deal with an exclusive ordinance and you deal with a progressive ordinance. If you allow the light industrial change from the PUD that it has, what you're doing is you're opening your hand to what they do. You can show photographs, but that's blanket. That can be like what you see. It may not be. That's why I'm for or against. I don't know. All I know is that you have a zoning law. You don't have deed restrictions, but a zoning law with a PUD gives you, the council, final decision. You're working under Bill 380 in your charter. The charter itself allows for public and private to work together, and there's nothing wrong with that, so long as people can make proper and reasonable decisions. Ingleside has this problem because it needs a specific use permit to protect itself. If it does not, it's got a blanket district zone by the type of a zoning ordinance it has. That's an open door. I don't blame the gentleman for wanting to do what they're wanting to do. I'm resident, a business type, and I look towards selling my property with the greatest potential. My property is not, even though I'm a resident, not here. I have 37 acres in East Texas, and I wish I had an open hand. It's not going to be that simple. That's the rural area I'm in. This is a rural area. It's up to you. You're the decision makers. What you're looking for is more business, industrial type, or you're looking for something else. I don't know. This is your comprehensive plan, and that's what I'm using. And it outlines plan unit development as well as light industrial. So you can deal with a blanket zone, or you can deal with something that you're capable of seeing and realizing you have an input to your concern and interest for the public. That's my statement. And I guess, Brenda, you've made it as clear as you can as far as the potentials. Is it, in your opinion, a blanket zone, or is it not?
No, it's not because of what the planning and zoning recommended.
Okay. So hers is not. You have two different viewpoints.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Okay, anybody else with comments?
And I just wanted to speak real quick on Mr. Haskins' comments, and he had questions on if the lady, what happens with her. And so I did let her know that even though she feels that her property right now is in an area where there's nothing, which is to her a good thing, I did advise her about the development that Mr. Tommy was talking about. Just southwest of there is the D.R. Horton homes that are coming in, which is close to 500 homes. So that's no longer going to be so much of an area that is nothing there. And so not only are D.R. Horton homes coming, so is the warehousing if you approve it. So it's just a developing area. It wouldn't be something that we could hold back anymore for her.
You answered my question, thank you.
Okay.
Is this in the city limits or not? It is? Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, that's why it's here. Okay, now I declare this public hearing closed. Now we're gonna go to consideration of approving the ordinance rezoning a property from PD Plan Development to Light Industrial located from potential buyer Joseph Broussard at north corner of Highway 35 bypass on Resendez Road.
more particularly described by Aransas County Appraisal District as property ID 58189, McCampbell Subdivision, Block 7, Lot 1 and 2, PT of all of 3 through 5, 37.6431 acres of Aransas Pass, Aransas County, Texas.
I move to approve, let me see, an ordinance rezoning a property from PD plan development to light industrial located from potential buyer Joseph Bouchard at north corner of Highway 35 bypass and Resendez Road, more particularly described by Aransas County Appraisal District as property ID 58189, McCampbell Subdivision, Block 7, Lot 1 and 2, PT of and all of 3 through 5, 37.6431 acres, Aransas Pass, Aransas County, Texas.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to action items, which is consideration of approving a request from Destination Aransas Pass to hold the 5th annual saltwater Mardi Gras event at Brown Harbor, Harbor Point Park on Saturday, February 21st, 2026, and park use of the dates of February 20th through February 21, 2026.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here on behalf of Destination Aransas Pass. We are here to ask your permission to host the 5th annual Saltwater Mardi Gras, which is February 21 of 2026 at Brown Harbor near the Memorial Tower. We do plan to work closely with the Police Department and Public Works to make sure that we have a smooth flow of traffic and that we take all precautionary measures, and that we're also mindful of all the boaters that are in the area. We don't want to take anything away from them. And also that we would have liability insurance for Destination Aransas Pass, the City of Aransas Pass, and the Chamber, because we help organize that event.
I'm okay with it. Motion?
All right. I move to approve a request from Destination Aransas Pass to hold the 5th annual Saltwater Mardi Gras event at Brown Harbor, Harbor Point Park on Saturday, February 21st, 2026, and park use on the dates of February 20th through February 21st, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All opposed? Now we go to consideration of approving a request to issue a request for proposals for a welcome sign of Highway 35 bypass north in Aransas Pass.
Yes, we took this item to MDD last week for funding of the welcome sign. It is a city project, and they are open to the idea of funding. However, they would like to know how much that sign is going to cost. So that being the reason for the RFP.
I'm good with it.
All right.
It's a pretty sign.
I move to approve a request to issue a request or RFP for a welcome sign off Highway 35 bypass north in Aransas Pass.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Consideration of approving a request from Red Ford Ranch Foundation for the use of shrimpery grounds for the 3rd annual Smoke on the Water barbecue competition from September 24th to the 29th, 2025.
I don't know if you guys got the paperwork or whatever, the proposal that I sent to the city manager or not? You didn't get the other stuff, so I was just.
It's on the screen, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're asking for from Wednesday to Monday again, which is the 24th to the 29th. The actual event is on the 26th and 27th. The competitors show up on the 26th. Last year we had a guy come all the way from Alabama. He's like the only one who stayed out there Thursday night. So I've given the barbecue competitors that option as long as you guys approve that again. Everybody knows they need to be gone by Sunday 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. I think I said. The event is free, open to the public on the 27th. Again, this year we donated $3,500 to other organizations from the proceeds of this event. We had anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 people on site at any time last year. We expect that to grow, possibly double this year. We had 28 teams last year. Again, expect that to probably double again this year. Pretty much the same gig, live music, food trucks. The Touch a Truck event has been a really popular thing, so we're bringing that back. We have some ideas, but I haven't finalized anything. There'll be something I would have to come ask you guys about, like a kayak race in the harbor or something maybe, but I'm not there yet. So, but we're trying to add something to make it a better event than it is, just to kind of step it up and bring more people in. And this year we'll have hotels blocked off. I'll be able to track a little more of how many people from out of town rent Airbnbs, but I know for a fact that we had at least 10 or 15 Airbnbs from just barbecue competitors, like guys from Corpus.
Oh,
They just
wow.
didn't want to drive back and forth that night. I know like all the houses around the shrimpery grounds were full last year, so. And that's the layout, same gig as last year. Oh, and this year, I'm trying to coordinate with Rosemary, and if everything works out, we'll have the shrimp, or the fencing hopefully set up early for shrimpery for this event. And so, again, and the insurance will be named city as we did last year as well.
Cool. Your motion?
Yeah, I move to approve a request from Redford Ranch Foundation for use of Shrimpery grounds for the 3rd annual Smoke on the Water barbecue competition from September 24th to the 29th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now we're going to go to consideration of approving a request to issue a request for qualifications for engineering services for the Sherwood Forest Water and Wastewater Project, Phase 3.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I feel like it's been a long time since I've been here. I always had Mickey cover for me, and I think Mickey's been covering for me.
Yeah.
I know, I feel like should have been. So this should finish the last phase of Sherwood Forest. I know Sherwood Forest is just one street, but we consider the whole subdivision Sherwood Forest. So this will connect water line from in front of 35 frontage all the way to Payne Avenue, and then run sewer behind the last remaining businesses and residents. So this is just to get RFQs, just to get professional services, to get an engineering firm on tack. We'll tally up the scores. We'll bring it forward to the mayor and council so you guys can approve who the firm will be. But right now, we're just asking for permission to solicitate for services.
And this will probably, for water and wastewater, that'll cover everything that's
on the annex
remaining
Yes.
out of that, right?
Yes,
Okay.
remaining, yes. What's left?
David, can I ask you one question? Am I on now? Did you roll some pimp for that shirt?
The what?
Did you roll some pimp for that shirt?
No, this is only the shirt that had green on it. I didn't want to get
No further questions?
No, that's it.
And I think a lot of this, do we already have the funding whenever this comes back, or are we going to have to look for some more money
No,
somewhere?
we've identified funding for this project.
Have we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, well, we got to do it
Trying to
anyway,
make
so
sure
it
I
don't
don't
matter.
miss any information. So it'll go to Roberts Road. I misspelled Robert on that. Apologies,
Okay.
but
Gotta be
yeah.
done.
Because that'll loop the water completely around so we don't have to have any flush sites too.
Okay.
And people call and complain, there's a water leak when it's just a automatic flusher.
Uh-huh. I ain't made you none of those calls. Okay, well, I move to approve a request to issue RFQ for engineering services for the Sherwood Forest Water and Wastewater Project Phase 3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to consideration of approving a request to issue a request for proposals for concrete kayak ramp for Lighthouse Lakes Improvement Project.
So the kayak that's there with just nothing but sand. We're always dumping sand there, and the tide comes up at night, goes down during the day, and it's gone. So we did get some engineering plans for the slab. Just have a beam in it. It has some other details that'll basically hold itself up. The thing is that this slab is way too big in terms of square footage for us to do in-house. So I'm asking for permission to just solicitate to see if we can get a concrete contractor to give us a price, and we'll bring forward the bid, and hopefully it's within budget and we can assess it at that point.
David, and the funding is covered through a grant that we received?
Yes, correct.
100%?
With the lighthouse.
That's the
But
money we got from
what-
the
Oh,
board,
from the board, all right.
engineer.
Okay, all right.
Depends on what the price range comes out in.
Yeah.
So I know.
Okay.
So we can't predict what the contractors will be at, but we'll just bring forward the numbers and we'll
Tell them free.
Mhm.
Good. All right, I move to approve a request to issue a RFP for concrete kayak ramp for Lighthouse Lakes Improvement Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consideration of approving the issuance of request for qualification for a feasible study for beach at the Flats.
This item came to council as a discussion item about a month ago, and there was a consensus from the council to go out for a study.
Yeah, go
So
check it out.
and that's the item that's before you.
What's the results?
I have, well, this is approving the issuance to go out for an RFQ.
Okay.
You have to hire somebody to do the study on it, whether it's feasible or not. Motion?
And, well, I guess how will we pay for that one?
I don't, I mean,
We won't know, yeah.
We'll find out.
until the
Yeah.
study comes back, and we
Okay.
should have an idea as to how much that's gonna cost. I can tell you, studies could range anywhere between 30,000 to 50,000, possibly more.
David just made mention of that concrete pad that he was wanting to build because they were putting sand out there and it was washing away at night and putting it back out there in the day and washing away. Isn't this the same area?
No.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where the beach is gonna go. I haven't been in the loop on that.
No, it's-
Where do they want
But,
to put the beach?
It's between,
It's at the
On the
flats.
south end,
the
right?
bridge and Fin and Feather,
Yeah.
on the south side of it. It's just to check it out, see if it's possible.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. It's the same thing, though. The tide goes in and the tide goes out.
We'll give
Yeah,
Ram a
but-
shovel and a
That's what
bucket, he
it
can
does
put
well.
it back.
Councilmember Haskins, but the issue with us is that we have people backing up with trucks to unload their kayaks, so we're trying to give them something stable from to park, unload, and then find
Yeah,
parking
and I
somewhere else.
understand that. What I'm
That's
talking
what we
about,
depend
if we go putting sand out there for the beach, because we're going to have to put sand to make a beach, right?
Well, you'd have to, we gotta find out, that's why we're doing this, to figure out actually what we have to do to be able to accomplish that.
Or if even we
Whether it's gonna be
can do
good or
it.
I
whether it's
understand that. But she just said it's going to cost $30 to $50.
I mean, that's just for the study. That's
Yeah.
just for the
Just for
study.
the study, not for the beach.
But are we going to throw away $30,000 to $50,000?
Well, we
Knowing
threw
that
away
that's gonna-
$1.2 million, what are you talking about? We already threw $1.2 million.
Are you gonna stay on topic, or are you gonna get off here?
$50,000. Whatever.
But what I'm saying though, Lam, is the tide goes in, the tide goes out, it washes that stuff away again anyway. Right?
I mean, that was the,
Yes.
I think, I can understand why you would say that, but the issue is that there's a lot of people in this community that are seeing people go out of the area, and I know that you're gonna have trouble finding the funding for that, and maybe there's a grant for it, but we have to know if we can have a beach or if it's sustainable, if it's something that the city could attain, because it would really reshape the city of Aransas Pass in with residents and out-of-town people, visitors. I mean, we would be a place where people would come if we could get a beach, and I know it's a huge investment, but it may be one that we need to try to go after in some way, shape, or form.
And I understand that, but I also know how the tides roll here.
Yeah, this is on the opposite side.
It goes everywhere, both directions.
Yeah, it's the same difference, but.
Yeah.
Just to see if it's possible or not, it'd be something good for the city of Aransas Pass.
Well,
Councilmember Haskins, as you know, I've worked with David in the past when I was their harbor master. That area, it's not just the tide that he's talking about for the Lighthouse Trails kayak launch. Mainly the bigger reason for that wear and tear there is because of the shipping traffic we do have come through there. You got shrimp boats, crew boats, things of that sort. That's your bigger issue on that side rather than the tide. The opposite side where they're proposing tends to stay a little more stagnant, if you will, as far as the waves and things that are going to wash that sand out.
But it still can do it.
Not saying it can't, just providing a little insight for you.
One thing also that you all need to remember is that we don't own the property, that's private property. So
We would have to get permission from all the property owners.
Yep.
It's just a
Well,
start,
why are we
see
doing
if we
this
can
now?
have a beach there. If not, yeah, well,
Shouldn't we get the permission first?
well,
that's part of it, I think.
So this assessment will cover a lot of items. It will cover going through and trying to see if the owners would allow it. It would cover talking to TCEQ and other environmental groups in the state to seeing if even that's an area that we can, because there are a lot of protected grasses and animals in the area. So it will cover someone for us to pay and go through the gamut to see if it's something that would be feasible. And if not, maybe we can find another area that we can do this. So that's what this would cover.
it's the starting process.
Mhm.
See if it could be done or not.
Waste of money.
We threw $1.2 million away on that.
So
fire
let's keep
department,
throwing
so
money away,
I
man.
don't want to talk about it. Okay. Motion of the, is there a motion or not?
Well, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'd like to find another funding source outside of the general
I
fund.
think
That's me.
right now, we're just,
Getting the ball
right now, we're
rolling.
just going out for the study.
Yeah.
Once we get the study back, we'll bring it back for council's approval, and at that time, we'll know how much that study is gonna cost.
Yes. Okay. So do we have a motion either way? Table it or what?
I'll make a motion to approve the issuance of a RFQ for a feasibility study for a beach at the flats.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Undecided.
All opposed?
Your vote, Mayor?
Okay.
Your vote?
It passed.
Yes.
Oh, it passed.
You got two.
Yeah, he's undecided. We 3 yes.
Well, we need 3.
You got it with the mayor?
Okay, yeah, good.
Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna go to consideration of approving the Commission on State Emergency Communication, CSEC, Next Generation 911 Fund Amendment Number 4.
Mayor, Council, the feds are pushing the state to spend the grant money for the CSEC grant for Next Generation 911. In that effort, the state is moving the requirement, is moving the requirement from October 30th to June 30th. The requirement is that we must have all the funding on everything that we're going to purchase on contract by that time. We still have until the end of 2026, December 31st, 2026 to implement it all, but we have to have it all on contract by this date. So this amendment, approving this amendment will be required for us to continue to receive that funding on the CSEC grant, and it's currently $240,000. So this act is just to
nothing new,
approve the amendment to the contract.
Something we always do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Move to approve the Commission on the State Emergency CSEC Next Generation 911 Fund Amendment Number 4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's consideration of approving the award to the bid to AT&T for RFB 2025-001 Next Generation 911 Core Services.
So the last item doesn't really affect us because this is the last contract for the Next Gen 911 project. Core Services is the connection, so that's going to connect us into the Next Generation network, and it's going to give us those services. It handles things like routing when someone calls. It's going to route. We went out for RFP. Only one bid came back from AT&T. The reason why is they're the only company that has the infrastructure in our area right now, so it'd be kind of costly for another company to come in and do that. It came in at $34,955 for the first year and a recurring annual cost of $34,428. The first year will be covered by that grant, the CSEC grant. After that, it's going to be covered by 911 fees, half by 911 fees, and the other half by the Crime Control Board, which they've already agreed to.
I move to award the bid to AT&T for RFB 2025 through 001 Next Gen 911 Core Services NGCS 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to consideration of approving the fire chief to accept surplus property from the Texas Forest Service for a U.S. Department of Defense light-wheeled vehicles.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. This is a standard process which the Forest Service takes basically demilitarized vehicles from the military, obviously not tanks or any of the such. but things of Humvees of the sort, which is exactly what we're going for in this point. Most of the council members I've already spoken to y'all in the last couple of weeks about the need for lighter vehicles to be able to get to the sugar stand and the salt grassy areas to help better with our wildland urban interface and protection for our residents. This is not going to supplant any of our current equipment or anything we ask for in the future. This is simply helping us build capacity to better serve our citizens and our outlying areas. This will come at no cost to the city. All they need is a signature from the city manager before we can move forward with it. All the cost to upfit it is going to come out of the fire department's normal operating budget.
I move to approve the fire chief to accept surplus property from the Texas Forest Service for a U.S. Department of Defense light wheel vehicle.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to consideration of approving the request for qualification for the architectural engineering services for the planning and design of a renovation for the fire station and police department.
This item came to council March the 3rd. At that time, the council made a motion to amend the item that was before the council at that time and instead amended it so that it could be a remodel. So that's the item that's before you today. Instead of the new fire station and the police department remodel, it is a remodel of both the fire station and the police department. And this is for the engineering and architectural design.
Will this also include new living quarters on the west side of the engine bay?
Well, this would be for the design of that. So once you approve this, then they will work with the police chief and the fire chief on that project.
And designing the whole situation all over again.
Cool. Okay. All right. I move to approve RFQ for architectural engineering services for the planning and design of a renovation for the fire station and police department.
Second.
All opposed?
It's only
All in
you.
favor?
Aye.
I just still keep going through my mind how we threw that money away.
That building is
What-
sure
what's-
enough
what's,
going to save lives.
So yes?
Yes.
You make the motion? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to executive session for the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, to meet with his attorney to seek legal advice on a matter which is the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act regarding to Com Brown Harbor Lease Post Point Company, Com Brown Harbor Lease, CB Marine Supplies, and it is 7/27.
She did. She heard our wishes.
The only thing is we don't have coffee back there.
Oh, darn, we don't. Ram. Hey. I've been waiting on this.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Me.
What?
You stay here by yourself. Go ahead.